who they lost to?
A few teams, yes. I'll look it up as you keep talking.
But I know they lost to Costa Rica along the lines. I think it was the last game, but I could be wrong. The fact that they lost that game, and what does Costa Rica have? Maybe 2 million people in their entire...
Correct.
I don't know the stats on Costa Rica. I'm pulling numbers out my butt.
Plus or minus a couple million, maybe, but, who knows?
Yeah, whatever.
Yes.
Less than the American public.
Yes.
The fact that we can't pull together a team, minus Pulisic, that can stop Costa Rica when we outnumber them by millions and millions of people, we can't pull a team together to beat them? Are you kidding me? And we don't deserve to go to the World Cup.
Right.
And that hurts American soccer because when it comes down to it, Americans don't... there are some that care, but the majority of Americans, especially the casual fans, do not care about soccer as a mainstream sport, kind of like, football or basketball or baseball.
Yeah.
We don't have that same viewership like the rest of the world does towards that sport. And the rest of the world, it's the number one sport, but America, it's probably like 6 or 7. And in my opinion, the fact that USA will not be represented in a representative in the World Cup hurts soccer in the U.S. vastly. It was gaining momentum over the last couple World Cups, especially by their performances, being able to upset some teams. I mean, they were in the pool of death the last time around and made it out. So the fact that the U.S. is not in there, it was continuing to build and build and build and starting to pick up momentum. You saw it on SportsCenter more often. You saw ESPN picking it up more often. And now they're not in it, and this is going to hurt soccer so much. And the fact is, it doesn't just hurt the soccer viewership, it hurts American economy. And it hurts us by people not going to bars to watch the games, people not going out to eat to watch the games, people not going and buying merchandise. It takes a huge toll on the economy, more than people probably think, because people aren't going to go watch the World Cup because USA's not in it. I'm sorry, it's just true. Yes, there's the Mexico fans or the fans of another country that might go watch it to watch their teams, but those are the hardcore fans. The casual fans, that the majority of American fans out there that are watching the World Cup aren't going to go watch it, or at least not care. They might pick it up and see on the highlights what happened on SportsCenter, but they're not going to sit and go to a bar and spend tons of money to watch and see what happens. They don't care enough. And I think that's a huge factor that we needed to talk about and we never really got to. Sorry, went on a tangent. You go ahead.
Bobby, you're breaking the Fox Sports official or execs' hearts, because they were expecting a huge turnout to watch their first ever World Cup that they're going to be showing on their airwaves, and now they're dumbfounded. They don't know how to respond to this. So
they're going to be vastly disappointed, and you heard it here first, folks.
So a couple of fact checks. So we did lose to Costa Rica. We lost We lost 2-0 to Costa Rica.
Yes.
Costa Rica has a population, you said, of 2 million. It has a population of 4.9 million. So
okay, I wasn't that far off.
Still multiples less than a couple of states in this country. And then the most damning loss was our final loss, which was a 2-1 loss in front of only 1,500 people versus Trinidad and Tobago, who has a population of 1.365 million. That's
who I was looking for.
Yeah.
Trinidad and Tobago. How in the heck do you lose to Trinidad? I don't think we've ever lost to them. I'm not a big soccer guy. I'll be the first to admit that. But from what I remember, I don't think we had ever lost to them. If we had, it hadn't been for a while. And we lose on the biggest moment. Like, you guys knew we needed to win this game to get to the World Cup. This was a shoo-in. If it was in football, it was like kicking a 1-foot field goal to go and win the game to go to the Super Bowl and missing it.
Right.
That's how bad this was.
Yeah, very bad. Now, given all that, Bobby, I am still very excited for the World Cup. I don't know if I'm going to be rooting for anyone in particular. I'm going to be rooting for some good games. I guess maybe I'm rooting for Brazil. I would always root for Brazil when I was little. I like
so un-American right now.
I know. I actually have a dual Brazilian citizenship. That's supposed to come in the mail any day now.
Do you have your half USA, half Brazil jersey ready to go?
I had a Brazil soccer T-shirt back in the day. I don't know. I think I probably outgrew it. But I was a huge fan of not Cristiano Ronaldo, not the Portuguese Ronaldo. I like the Brazilian Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo. He was the man back in like 2002 when they won the World Cup. Yeah, I was a huge fan back then. So hey, maybe I'll become a Brazilian fan once again and use my dual citizenship. Put it to good use, You never know.
No. Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah,
but seriously, what's your take on that? Because that affect a lot more than just the viewership?
Yes, no, it definitely, like you said, the casual fan is going to not turn in when they were expecting a huge turnout from people rooting for just the colors of the USA, and they were thinking, okay, well, there's going to be some young guys in this team, just like Pulisic, like you said, that are going to be leading this team to potentially unprecedented heights in this Russian World Cup, and we're going to take advantage of this and put it on Fox. And I think ESPN had the last at least two of them. So Fox really wanted to go in with a bang and just present like the best broadcast possible for all the United States games. And when they figured out that the U.S. was not going to be in it, I mean, it literally, like, they had to change their entire ad campaign. I don't know if you've seen any of the commercials for the World Cup. They are pretty much, they bog down to this. Hey, we know the United States isn't in it, but you're from somewhere, right? You're from somewhere else, like your family, your nationality from 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 300 years ago. You're like 20% Spanish. Okay, well then root for Spain. It literally says in the commercial, you may not speak the language, you may not have ever visited, but you are part of this country, and it's just trying to get you to watch because it wants you to be as fervently supportive of a random country that your family heritage comes from. And look, that works for some people. I don't know if it's going to work for me. So my dad's side comes from Germany, and my mom's side comes from Ukraine. I don't think Ukraine's in it. I know Germany's in it. Obviously, they won the last World Cup, and they're one of the co-favorites for this one. But I don't ever see myself really like rooting for Germany when I see them play soccer. So I don't think that ad campaign was necessarily geared towards me. But again, I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard, but I'm not a casual. I'm somewhere in the middle. Because I talked about the UEFA Champions League this Saturday. I'm very excited for that. I try to watch soccer when I have the time and, there's nothing else on. I would, okay, I'll say this. I will say this, Bobby. I think soccer has probably overtaken baseball for me. Yeah.
I will say this too. When it comes to like the World Cup or a big soccer match, I would say I'd be more entertained to watch that than any regular season baseball game.
Okay.
And maybe most postseason as well. I think just the World Series would be a little bit more, except for the World Cup. The World Cup would be head and shoulders above baseball in general.
I think, you know what?
With USA.
I think soccer might be number 4 on the list right now, Bobby. In the old
think so?
Mount Rushmore of Klepper sports that he likes. Yeah.
And I will say this, I agree with you. For their ad campaign, they had to do something. Right. They had already put their stake into the pot. They were like, okay, we got to do something here. It's a kind of a clever way of like a little gimmick of where you come from. Are you going to root for them? They need you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, no one cares about another country unless they're from there because they don't care how that team does. The fact is the entire viewership. Like, let's be honest. Besides Mexico, because Mexico is a huge following, and maybe a couple countries here and there. Besides that, the U.S. is it. I would say it's U.S. maybe 70, Mexico 25, and then the rest.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We'll just put a bow on this discussion. At least we're not Italy. At least we're not a team that is so diehard about soccer that has won a World Cup as recently as, I believe it was 2006, that it wanted nothing more than to win this World Cup, and they're not even in it. So, hey, sucks to be Italy, right? I don't know what their second sport is. I mean, I guess maybe...
cricket?
Maybe cricket. Could be.
I don't know. Rowing?
Hey, Esteban. Oh, Esteban's not out there. Where'd he go? I know Esteban will be watching, that's for sure.
Let's see here. Italy, their second favorite thing is eating Italian food.
Oh,
That's
okay.
What it is.
So they're going to do a lot of that. They're going to be eating a lot of pepperoncinis.
And it's very good, so they're lucky to have it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be comfort eating.
Pizza eating contest. Yes, we nailed it.
Right. And maybe Joey Chestnut can go over the pond and defeat them at that too. So, at least we can say we don't care enough about soccer to be upset about you, and then we send our eating champion to break your guys' hearts in the pizza eating contest. All right, Bobby, let's go back to the NBA really quickly before we take, I guess, probably our one and only break of tonight's show. Last night, Cleveland and Boston. Boston defeating Cleveland 96-83 in Boston. It was a close game pretty much throughout. I don't think either team really took too big of a lead. Boston kind of pulled away at the end, and it really just looked like LeBron just kind of petered out. And he's obviously running on fumes right now. We have not seen a team that has been so heavily leaning on LeBron since the first team he ever took to the finals back in 2007 when he had, Ira Newble and Eric Snow on his team for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, Kevin Love is such a shell of what he has been.
Yes.
And if you look at the Kevin Love that was in Minnesota versus the Kevin Love in the first few finals runs for the Cavs, I mean, it's a different player. But a lot of that was maybe more predicated upon, he's now the third option between LeBron and Kyrie, and he's not being asked to do as much. But now, I mean, he's a totally different player.
The guy used to be putting up triple doubles in his sleep. It
right.
seemed like. Didn't he have the record for the longest until Westbrook broke it?
I mean, he had a 30-30 game as a Minnesota Timberwolf. That's insane. And last night, let's actually read his entire stats log for this series. In 5 games, he's averaging 15 points and 11 rebounds. Actually, more rebounds a game than I thought he was. 2.8 assists, or 2.8 assists, shooting 39% from the field, 28% from 3. This guy, I mean, look, okay, I know, he's had his struggles with some different mental issues, and that is a big deal. And he's maybe kind of was able to take that backseat to LeBron and Kyrie for the last few years, and I know there was kind of some lingering resentment maybe but about the role he's had on this team and maybe not being appreciated enough by the fans or his teammates. But if there was any year for Kevin Love to say, all right, this is the year that I need to come in and be the guy that I was in Minnesota once again, come in and just be, another superstar alongside LeBron James, because we obviously don't have that now with Kyrie being traded. And obviously they had Isaiah Thomas to begin the year, but he didn't play because he was hurt, and then he played about 10 games and got traded away. They had a whole new staff. I mean, there's no one on this team that you could say even comes close to the level of play of someone like Kevin Love if he's playing at his best. And he has just been a total shell of what we have seen Kevin Love to be his best at. And it's not like he's that old. He's 29 years old. And you look across the way, the other starting front court guy, LeBron James, he's 33 and very well could be playing the best basketball of his career. I mean, to have a guy that leads the NBA playoff history in points scored and to say he's still in his prime is absolutely mind-boggling to me. But really, that's what it comes down to. If LeBron plays out of his mind, then Cleveland has a shot. And if he only plays really good like he did last night, he had 26 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. That's really good for any other player in the world. For LeBron James, it's okay, and they lost by 13. LeBron has to put up a 40, 10, and 10 tomorrow night to even get close at a W. It's crazy to me.
Especially when you see other 29-year-olds, at peak performance and peak moments of their lives, such as us.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of mind-boggling that this 29-year-old can't get together. I mean, wow. Look at us.
Yeah, look at us, please.
No, all jokes aside, I completely agree. It's kind of crazy to see that this team is just falling apart. It's ripping at the seams. Now, I will give them all the credit in the world for them to come back in 4. I thought it was going to be a sweep there for a second, honestly. To see what they were able to do to get themselves back in it, I'm glad to see that at least. But when you rely so much on LeBron James, who, as great as he's been, and if not probably playing the best season of his career, in my opinion, I just don't see how he's going to be able to do this. We saw this back in his first year where he had his first finals appearance, where he had to pull the team on his shoulders and couldn't get it done because the talent on the other teams was more widespread. And that's how this team feels, and I completely agree with you. It's just too much pressure, and the fact that Kevin Love